If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. I don't think that power carries quite as much with those bigger guys. It's a little bit of a step. It's a step up, you know, like that. There's very few guys that keep that power as they keep going up and up and up in weight.
A lot of people think it's funny, like, oh, you're gonna fight Canelo, like you're saying you're gonna beat Canelo, like you're out of your mind, you lost to Tommy Fury in a split decision, how are you gonna beat Canelo?
Jake Paul is rumored to be facing Canelo Alvarez in May 2025. However, Joe Rogan is doubtful that this fight will take place, pointing out that Canelo has a full schedule and isn't likely to wait around for Jake Paul. Rogan adds that it's well known that Canelo is a highly lucrative opponent, which is why many fighters are eager to face him. He remains unconvinced, questioning if the fight will ever materialize given Canelo's commitments.
Fucking dangerous. Very dangerous.
And there's always somebody coming, right behind you. And these guys who've been at the top so long, you're like, all right, let me get somebody that's on my level. Canelo, he's been in the game just as long as me, and all right, let's just do this for this paycheck and then move on.
I think when they get to a certain level and they realize they only have a few fights left, they want the big money fights. And Canelo is obviously the biggest money fight. Even though Boots Ennis is a great fighter, most people don't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
And with Canelo, everybody knows who Canelo is. If you get the Canelo fight, that's red panties night.
Joe Rogan thinks that Jake Paul faces criticism primarily because he started his career as a YouTuber. Rogan suggests that many people struggle to accept Paul as a legitimate boxer, but he counters this by pointing out that Paul has already demonstrated his skills by defeating several former UFC champions.
Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul. If he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. Knock him out with one punch like that. Like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's f***ing for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Rogan recognizes Jake Paul's commitment to the sport and affirms that, despite the criticism, he is a skilled boxer.
I think you could still throw down, like if it had to happen. Like if Jake Paul called you out.
Well, he'd probably fuck me up.
Really?
He's a really good boxer. He's a good boxer.
What if it was kickboxing? He doesn't really know how to kickbox.
When I was a younger man and I had good knees, I could be kickboxing people, but I could barely get through a workout without being in pain now. There's a reality of...
In a conversation, Joe Rogan and Post Malone both agreed that Canelo Alvarez is a powerhouse in the ring. They praised his dominance, skill, and strength, recognizing him as one of the greatest boxers of this generation. They also emphasized his remarkable career and his consistent willingness to face the toughest opponents.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Like I'm talking more about Jake. I want to see a UFC fight.
You want to see a UFC fight with Jake?
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to fight for the UFC.
Well, no,
he's
or
got a
MMA fight. MMA fight.
He'll
I'm
do
so
an
sorry.
MMA. He's got a contract with the PFL, which is another organization. They're throwing a lot of money around. They just signed Francis Ngannou, and Jake has a contract with them. So if he has an MMA fight, I think it has to be over there.
Many boxing experts are doubtful that a fight between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez will take place. The main reason is that Canelo is already focused on his upcoming bout with Terence Crawford in September. With his attention on facing another top-tier opponent, most professionals believe Canelo won't be interested in fighting Jake Paul anytime soon.
That you'd like to go up against Canelo Alvarez. What gives you the right to call out a 59-2 boxer, one of the greatest of all time, when you've not yet proven yourself?
I'm predicting what's going to happen
In
3 more years from now.
So
I'm going to get to his skill level and beat him. I have one of the greatest self-belief systems in the world, and I know what I'm capable of, and with this new team, I can give Canelo a serious for his money.
Would you ever do like exhibitions like that, or like people like Jake Paul call you out, or these like other big stars? Like, is that business wise like even worth it?
When I'm done with boxing, why not? Maybe I do it. I think it's
like when you're done like competing at the highest level, you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's good because what happened there is other people who never watch boxing, or they don't know anything about boxing, they want to watch Jake Paul because he's coming from he bring fans from other world, right? Yeah. That's good because everybody enjoy it.
Would you ever entertain that idea when you're done?
Maybe.
Max, a boxing analyst, believes that while Jake Paul may want to fight Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican superstar is unlikely to entertain the idea. According to Max, Canelo is not interested in turning boxing into an entertainment spectacle. He views Jake Paul as someone focused more on entertainment than real competition and doesn't consider him a worthy opponent for Canelo.
Yeah.
Will we actually see this fight?
It's not impossible. He has 0% chance to beat Canelo Alvarez. This is the worst guy he could fight is Canelo Alvarez. The worst thing he can do.
No. Tell us why.
I want your because Canelo Alvarez is not playing games.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Everything is muscle memory since he was a kid. He was a natural. He's fought every fighter there is. He's beaten light heavyweights, and he's a natural counterpuncher. You come to him, he just beats the hell out of you. There's no way in any universe Jake Paul could ever beat Canelo Alvarez. But I love the fact that he thinks he can. I love that about both Paul brothers. This is how it could happen, okay? How a fight could happen. He has to beat Tyron Woodley. That's not easy. Then he has to beat a striker in their prime, because Woodley's not in his prime anymore, right? Still an MMA guy, not a full-time boxer in his prime. Then he'd be 5-0. Then he needs to beat a striker who's his size and in his prime, but from MMA, so he still hasn't fought a boxer. He's 6-0. Then he needs to fight a pro boxer. Could be an inexperienced guy, but he's got to fight him. That's 7-0. Beat a more experienced pro boxer, 8-0. Beat a pro boxer his own size, 9-0. Beat a more experienced pro boxer his own size. He'd be 10-0, and now he's ready for an 8-round fight against a real fighter, right? Then you got to beat that guy. It takes a while to build up a world-class 10-round fighter, and he'll always be at a disadvantage against guys with amateur backgrounds because they have muscle memory. We saw it in UFC 264. Stephen A., remember the Hardy fight? Mm-hmm. So he's fighting a guy with muscle memory. Hardy's an...
Jake Paul has consistently emphasized that he sets ambitious goals for himself, believing that arranging these high-profile fights pushes him to exceed his limits. According to Paul, targeting Canelo is a way to challenge himself and apply pressure, which aids in his growth as a fighter. He remains determined to achieve his dreams, regardless of the doubts others may have.
And then for your girlfriend, Yuta, to win Olympic gold.
Yeah, we just have all the belts.
That's insane.
In the world.
That's crazy.
And then we should just retire after that.
So look, are you happy with your performance in the fight? Are you happy with the way the night went down?
I wish he would have, put up a better fight, so then I could have risen more and done more. And he was surviving.
He was.
So
before you went out,
it's worked up. But I think that everybody just wants him to win. Wanted Mike to win. But
dude, people really don't like us, Jake. People really want to see you get knocked out.
Yeah, what did I ever do to anyone?
Well, you climbed on top of the KTLA news van.
That's hilarious.
You wasted the government's money.
How?
Because the FBI had to raid your house.
They wasted their own money. They wasted their own money. Why would they do that? I didn't. And then nothing ever came from it. They didn't even know what.
Canelo versus Crawford confirmed. Not a rumor. Not speculation. Not he said, she said, or someone leaking the story. Confirmed. And I guess the confirmation doesn't get much more rock solid than the Ring Magazine putting this story out first. Ring Magazine, obviously owned by Turkey. Turkey would have been the one to put this deal together, and Turkey would have had to given the green light for the Ring Magazine to even put that story out. That's as confirmation as you need it. That's it. The fight will happen in September. Touch wood, no injuries. Wow. Easily the biggest fight of 2025. I said a few days ago, Benavidez Morale was my most intriguing fight of 2025. Obviously, that's now been put down to second place because this has been announced. Nothing can be announced